In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through a vlog of reading Dune. Who knows how long it's going to take me to get through this amazing piece of writing. Being the fantasy lover that I am, I'm incredibly surprised that I haven't even read Lord of the Rings yet, because every time I tried, I just couldn't keep the focus and I'd put the book down. But as you can see here on Dune, I have these little tabs. And what I like to do as a writer, I like to highlight the areas that I really like. So I write down all of those sorts of things. I bookmark them. Then at the end, when I finish the book, I take it to the computer and I have like a little document that I do up. I put all of the things that I highlighted in there. Then whenever I'm stuck with my own writing or just want some inspiration or something to look at, I can head to that document to just kind of look through. And sometimes it gives me a lot of ideas, which is fantastic. It's really important that I go through some of the classics and some of the works that have really stuck in so many people's hearts and minds, even if they are a little bit difficult. So that's my main reason for starting Dune. And actually so far I am 70 pages in. I don't get a lot of time to read. I have a 10-month-old in the home, and the only time I really get to read or write or do anything for myself is when he naps or after he goes to bed at night. He's actually just playing in the background there. Sorry if you can hear him. So I was really shocked by this so far. I guess I was expecting a little bit more of very descriptive and flowery and fancy writing like Lord of the Rings. That's just what I was expecting. I'd never really heard anyone say that, but because it's so long and I know it's an epic sci-fi fantasy extraordinaire, I was just expecting more writing. But as you can see, so far I've only really highlighted 4 things. The writing is concise and it really does portray what it's trying to. It gives a good sense of motion, a good sense of action. I'm really loving the dialogue between the characters, but it's really focused on the story, which is great. It goes straight to the action, not too much mulling over in anyone's mind. And I've only highlighted 4 things because there was only really 4 things that I felt like I could really necessarily learn from. But that's not to say that I'm not enjoying the book so far. So we'll see how it goes. So it has been about a week since I last filmed and started the novel. I would say it's a quarter to a third of the way through. I have just read the section where the spice crawler gets eaten by the worm. And I have seen the movie already, so I remember that scene so vividly. And I'm now at the part where they are having the dinner with the strange collection of people that Jessica doesn't quite know how to finesse or how to walk through, and becomes aware that there's a lot at play here, a lot of information that she needs to understand before she can kind of grasp what all this underlying tension is. One thing I am finding though, which is always hard for me, and a reason why I have in the past tended to avoid like the classics or the really big epics, even though I love them, I watch the movies and I'm obsessed with them. When it comes down to reading them, I find it very difficult to grasp and hold all of the different names that are popping up. So that can be a little bit hard for me, but I've tried to really pay attention. But I did notice while they're having this meal that I'm like, okay, who's that? What does this person do? How is their relationship? But I have to be reminded that not always are you supposed to know. You're not always supposed to know who these people are. And sometimes I feel like I've missed parts before by not knowing exactly who they are. But then when Jessica revealed herself, what is going on here, I said, okay, there's a lot that's unknown to the characters themselves, let alone me. It has my favorite tropes. It has the savior trope as well as the chosen one trope. These are tropes that are used in my own fantasy series, so I'm a real sucker for it. And I guess all I'm wondering is, will Paul be the savior? Will he be the chosen one? Is he the one that they're all waiting for? Because the way that the book sets it up, it really does make you think that he is. And in the movie as well, the things that he can do, the experiences that he's having, the people he ends up meeting, the way he ends up getting away, the way he ends up with the Fremen at the end, it really does make you think that he is the one. But that kind of worries me too. Is Frank going to do some sort of trickery or some sort of plot twist where it turns out that he's not actually the one? Because sometimes I feel like when an author does set it up to be so obvious from the beginning, sometimes it can be leading you astray as well. So those are my thoughts so far. It's probably going to take me at least another 2 weeks to get through the book at this stage. So I will just have to continue to film updates as I go along. It's a really hot day out there today, 35 degrees in Ohio, so it's pretty much the hottest day we have had so far, and it's really, really humid and windy, but it is cloudy, so I guess, you know, that does help ease the strain of it being so hot, and I'm Aussie, so this is really nothing for me. It is currently Saturday the 26th. Ben just got home from work and took me out to get bubble tea. I am not having a very good day today and I just need me time. Not to complain, I have a fantastic husband, a wonderful life, a beautiful baby, but anyone who is a mum will know that sometimes you just need some time to breathe. So it is the afternoon and Ben has given me as much time as I need, getting through as much of it as I can. We will be driving to West Virginia tomorrow to see Ben's family, and it takes about 2 hours to drive there. So I will have some time tomorrow as well. I won't be able to drive on the way back from West Virginia because it will be too dark, but I can definitely get through 2 hours on the way there as well. So hopefully within the next 2 days, I can get halfway through Dune Book 1 and update you guys on how I feel about it. So it is Sunday now and we will be heading to church. Before we go to church though, hubby's gonna take me to Starbucks down the road because I do believe that they have the fall coffees ready. So it's very exciting for me as an Australian because we just do not have fall decorations, fall vibes, fall anything. So we don't have pumpkin spice latte or anything like that. Maybe some cafes do it, like local cafes are our thing in Australia. So maybe sometimes around this season, people will do that type of coffee, but I haven't really seen it anywhere. So we're gonna head there this morning, go and see if I can get that. And then we'll be heading up to West Virginia to see the family. Let's try the first pumpkin spice.
I managed to read about an hour and a half. I now am almost halfway through the book, but that just reminds me that I'm probably at least another week or a week and a half away from finishing this book, but that's okay. I'm a mum and I'm writing, so I'm doing my best. I just got up to a really intense part of the book. I guess this is a book vlog, so I kind of have to spoil a few things if I'm going to talk about it at all. But so I'm at the point where Paul and his mother have to flee to the desert, where Jude Leto has died. I must say that I really enjoyed the part where Paul starts to go a little bit intense in the tent because of the spice, and he starts seeing all the future possibilities. He starts understanding his past, his future, the future of everything, really, all the possibilities, all the strands, and his mother's role, the fact that he's a Harkonnen himself. So I really enjoyed the way that such a complex thought process that was going through Paul's mind was actually written just so clean and simply. I highlighted a lot of that actually, and I learned a lot from it, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, we'll see what happens next in the book, and I will hopefully get around to like another large chunk of reading tomorrow perhaps, because my husband's mother is actually going to spend some time with the baby, but I do have a chunk of content to film as well, so we'll just see when I can get around to it, and I will update you guys as I go along. I'm outside now, and I really didn't expect to film today. It's been a couple of days since the last update. I'm a little over halfway through in Dune, so I'm on page 475, I think. So we have gotten to the point where Jessica and Paul have met the Fremen in the desert. They've escaped. She's just met Stilgar. And I'm not quite sure if it got up to this point in the movie, because I remember in the movie it kind of ended there when they meet them all and Paul fights them, and also Jessica does, and they realize, you know, these people have value, that he really could be the chosen one and she could be the mother of the chosen one. I feel like it ended there in the movie. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have Gabriel here in the shot. I think he's excited because he sees us on camera. But yeah, now we're at the point where, you know, Stilgar and her are like talking about maybe the consideration of her marrying him, and I don't know, I'm just really hooked now at the idea that Jessica will marry in to the family of like a ruling or the leader Fremen, and what that means with Paul and everything like that. So I'm going to continue reading, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on that. I'm really loving that now, and I'm just so excited to keep going. It's been a while, and I've still got a quarter of the book to go, so it's just so hard sometimes with having a baby when you don't really get even that much time to write, to actually read as well, because most of the free time that I get, I tend to choose writing, and sometimes the free time needs to be used towards other things as well. So Gabriel had his operation on his cleft, so it was the roof of his mouth. He had it last Wednesday. So it's been a week now exactly, and he's recovered, and it's been great. But a lot of my time and attention did have to go into him, and then of course it affected his sleep as well. So I didn't get as much time to read as I would like, but my husband is currently doing second shift, so I'm finding that I have a lot of extra time in the evening because I'm not necessarily spending the time with him when he gets home. So this is affecting my sleep because I'm staying up a little bit later to have some me time, which when you're a parent, it's always like a toss-up between like, do you want to wake up more tired tomorrow, or do you actually want to feel restored in the sense that you've had time to do the things that you want to do, free time for yourself. And
I mean, in the past, I would have wasted this time on like watching TV, but it's so funny how now that I have less time, I'm doing more because I just don't have that expansive free time ahead of me like I used to, so I can't put things off, and it makes me a lot more motivated to write and to do things that I want to do for myself, like read and research, and because I just need to use the hours that I have wisely. A timer for an hour. It's so I'm finishing around 8:30, 9 with the book, and then I might get into another hour of writing because I already did about an hour and a half of writing today. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll update you with where I'm at the end of this. No thoughts necessarily so far, just continuing on. It's a great book. I'm absolutely thrilled with it. I'm really glad, like I said, that I'm enjoying it because I thought it was going to be one of those slugs to get through, like Lord of the Rings, which I'm going to attempt after this series because I've never been able to get through Lord of the Rings. It's a classic. I know I should read it, but I just found it's too much and I can't focus on it. So I'm really, really glad that with Dune, that is not the case. Okay, so it's been an hour and I didn't think that I would have much to say, but I just started a new chapter where it was focusing on Paul after focusing on the Baron. And what? All of a sudden, like, he's married Chani, he has a son with her, Ollie has been born and she's 2. So I guess that means 2 years has passed. I wasn't expecting such an intense time jump. So I was expecting more of a build-up to happen with their relationship, but it's kind of just gone straight to how they are as a married couple. And Alia is very interesting, super cool. I haven't seen anything like that before in anything else, really. A completely all-knowing 2-year-old who speaks like an adult, but not just an adult, but multiple adults, because she has the experiences of not only the Reverend Mother, but also Jessica. So that's really interesting, and I'm super excited to see where that goes and what kind of issues it's going to stir up within the tribe, because there's already the foreshadowing and the hinting at that coming up. So I'm going to get up now. It's 8:45 because I took a little break in between. I'm going to try and get some writing done. If I can't get any writing done and I'm not doing so well with the planning of this next chapter that I'm writing, I'll probably come back to bed and read some more, and hopefully I can get further through the book.
Dawn is dying and withering, and soon those mountains over there will be bare, as will this field, and I'll be looking out over a sea of grey, and there'll be grey clouds in the sky constantly too.
Okay, here I am again, another night where I've taken an hour to read, and I actually got an hour in today as well. I have about this much left of the book. We're getting there, and I'm almost done for the night, and I just had to say, Paul just was able to handle the life water, or is it the water of life or whatever? And when he talks about the vision that he had, I just absolutely loved Frank Herbert describes this, because let me just read the quote first of all. So, there is in each of us an ancient force that takes and an ancient force that gives. A man finds little difficulty facing that place within himself where facing that place where the taking force dwells. But it's almost impossible for him to see into the giving force without changing it into something other than man. For a woman, the situation is reversed. I just loved that because it encompasses so much about the truth of masculinity and femininity. It just encompassed so much about the energy of man and woman, but it was just such a small way to describe the vision in that way. I was thinking about if I were to try and describe a vision like this in my writing, how abstract I would get, how I would give so many details, how it would be so convoluted and intense, because I'd be really trying to just communicate that idea. But the way that he just so simply communicates that, it's just wonderful. I just loved it. I highlighted it, bookmarked it, definitely going to save it. And I definitely think his writing is really teaching for me, really educational, because he is able to get so much said and so much described and so much imagery created with like little words. And I think it's definitely a skill. And even though we might love descriptive, flowery writing, it's definitely a skill to write like this. And I think even though I've been writing for 3 years, I'm not exactly sure what my voice is. I would love to write some sort of intense sci-fi or fantasy epic one day. The novel that I'm writing, the series that I'm writing now, is technically YA, but it's sort of adult. It's like in the middle. But I hope that one day I could write like this. That's a wrap for Dune. I finished the first book. It only took like a month and a bit. It's alright. You know, I've got a kid and have to write as well, so I did pretty good. You guys can see I have the collection now there at the back, and I've already started book 2. So this was definitely a 5 out of 5 star read for me. Yeah, just as an aspiring writer, all you can do is not try to compare yourself. But I think if there was some sort of writing or work that I would like to complete, it would be of this nature. I was shocked that there wasn't more detail because it is such an epic. The world is so rich and the characters are rich and everything that's happening I can imagine, but yet there wasn't constant detail. One thing that I noticed a lot, you know, too, in the dialogue between people, there was just a lot of Paul said, this person said, Jessica said. And as a writer myself, I tend to want to show more of the expression that characters are doing in the scene when there's dialogue. So I'll add things like she tipped her head to the side, or she glanced longingly. In Dune, the word and the dialogue itself painted enough of a picture of how the person would be saying it. I loved that as well. I think I already mentioned what my favorite quote was in the whole book, but it was about the ancient force that gives and takes, and I just found it such a succinct way to capture the essence of masculinity and femininity. So definitely a 5 out of 5 star read for me, and on to the second one. And I'm hoping to actually just smash the whole series one after another, because usually with series I sometimes need to take a break in between and read other books, but I want this world to be fresh in my mind. So you might be getting a lot of reviews of Dune in a row. We will see what happens, but yeah, thanks so much for watching my reading vlog, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next one.